Hello, thank you for tuning in to this week's Pick-a-Read. This week's subject, which just kind of came to me out of the blue and I decided just to go with it, is Betrayal, now or then. So if you're being pulled to this, it's either something in the past to be resolved or something that you're going through now that maybe you aren't as connected with or don't realize what's actually happening. Some answer needs to come to you, some type of insight needs to come to you. Alright, for these choices, I'm going to use the Halloween Oracle by Stacy DeMarco and the Witch's Tarot by Ellen Dugan. Alright, I'm going to do 5 piles. So we're going to need to go through it, just kind of pick 5 piles. This is I'm just shuffling through a little bit because they were hard to shuffle. So I just want to make sure. No, I don't think we want that actually. And if you can hear my dog in the background, he decides he likes to whine once in a while. Usually because something's outside or, I don't know, some days, I'll be honest with you. I think he gets annoyed with the cat, honestly. And I just don't catch him. Alright, so we have 6 piles. Okay, I just realized that. So one pile is not going to have a message. And we're going to put that stone with that. I was not planning on doing 6, but here are your 6 choices. Let's see if I can get them in frame. Can you see that one? I think you can. Alright, so I know I'm not completely balanced with how. There we go. Let's try to move them over a little bit more. So the way I'm going to do these is what I call the dark rainbow, this yellow stone, which I forget what you call it, which I'm not centering on the energies of the stone. I just want you to center on what one you're drawing in so you can choose your pile. So we're going to do this one second, the Amethyst third, the Lapis Lazuli fourth, the Rose Quartz fifth, and then I want to say it's fluorite, 6th, which I'm still like, I was not planning on doing that many, but the bonus one, I'm curious. I'm curious what that's going to be about, but we'll find out. Especially since there's no message with that. Okay. And I'll put this one over here. We're going to just assume I won't forget that. Alright, so this one, the rainbow, the dark rainbow I call it, which I think is beautiful. Alright, so we got that. Oh, there's not many here. I don't know why we want to do the up and down, but we will. If I could actually move this in the frame so you could see it, it's probably better. Alright, Betrayal now and then. Who is your real enemy? I think this is the moon actually. It says karma, but I think I usually read that as the moon. It could be like an eclipse. Okay. I kind of do. I mean, literally, that's an eclipse on that card. It says karma. Karma, like, people sometimes, I feel like the way people view karma may be a little odd, and I'll just go through it a little bit quick. And granted, this is how I view it, so if you view it differently, you got to do what's right for you. But the way I understand karma, for example, people like to believe, like, if I throw a spider at somebody and scare them, but I'm not afraid of spiders, I don't care about that because, you know, somebody can throw one at me, that's fine. That is not karma. Karma is more like you throw a spider at somebody and they're deathly afraid to where they have a panic attack. Something in your life that's going to give you a panic attack is what happens back to you. That's how karma works. It's not the eye for an eye thing. It's like whatever you take from somebody, how they felt, you're going to feel how they felt. That's what that is. So when I'm getting this here, where is your real enemy? The question is, have you done things in the past that maybe you're not so happy with? And maybe is that other side of the coin flipping now for you? I know that's a harsh message, but that's what I'm feeling is really happening here. And take that with a grain of salt, however it applies to you. It's saying, is there something in your past that you don't like that's maybe the coin is flipping? And I almost feel like for some of you, you're watching this play out. And it's a situation where in the past you stayed out of something where you knew somebody was being betrayed because you didn't think it was the wise thing to get involved with. But now you're seeing what it's like on the other side of that coin is what I'm getting. That might be what's coming forward for you. But when it says, where is your real enemy? Who is your real enemy? Karma is saying like the other side of the coin is flipping. But what I'm also getting here, because this seems to come through in a clump, the Page of Pentacles is saying, lesson learned. That's what I'm getting. Like, you get it. Like, you know what? I just feel like if this is really hitting with you, you're owning it. You're just kind of like, I know what I have to own here. And I'm getting the lady, I can never say this right, Lady de los Muertos. I feel like this is one of those things where you're seeing your true colors. And you're seeing where, you know what, I'm not going to let this hold me down. I understand, I'm going to own it, and I'm going to move on from it. But I'm also going to change my attitude about how I handle this if it comes forward again. This one's a harsh one, I'm telling you. This one feels harsh to me. Because I feel like this is all about owning your part of the situation. I feel like your true colors, your true beauty, you're just like, you know what, I'm seeing it, I'm not going to run from it, I'm just going to face it head on, and from this point forward, I'm gonna handle this the way I feel I would like to be. Like if I was on the other side or this side, I'm gonna handle it what's best no matter which side I'm on. So if I'm on the side with the secrets, I'm gonna divulge those secrets because I don't want them to be held from me. If I'm on the side that somebody's holding a secret from me, I'm gonna be open to that, or I'm gonna be accepting about why somebody is not saying something to me. It's just trying to see all the angles, just trying to be accepting, because you're breaking. If this is hitting with you, you're breaking that pattern. You're breaking that loop. Because you're like, you know what? I'm just going to own it. We all make mistakes. I mean, not for nothing. That's what life's about, making mistakes. This sugar candy, life is great, life is always wonderful thing, that's bull. That's not what life's about. Life's about going through negativity and overcoming it. And you're doing that. And you're facing it. If this is hitting with you, I really feel like you're facing it and you're making good on it. You're breaking that cycle. You're like, I'm done with that. I'm done with that. I see it. It's not about liking it. It's just about ending it. Whatever I need to do, I'm going to own it. And I'm going to get myself out of this pattern. So I feel like that's the whole thing. Just owning the karmic part of this. And breaking it. I really feel like that's the message here. Alright, so we're done with that one. I feel like that one was a little brutal. I don't know. I thought it was brutal. The next one. This yellow white stone here, which I can't remember the name of for the life of me. Well, no wonder we did 6. There's not a lot of cards. I didn't realize there wasn't that many. Okay. So what is going on here? This says, what do we take this? Where do we take this? Now that we know. Where do we take this now that we know? So betrayal, now or then. I feel for a lot of you, and this is going to go either past or present, I get that one. But for a lot of you, it's already knowing the betrayal. Some of you, I feel like this section is a harsh one. This whole video I have a feeling is going to be. Some of you did the betrayal. You know that right off the bat. So if you didn't, then you didn't. Don't get upset about it. Just think about this in a different angle. But if you did do it, like you're living with it. And you're kind of like, now that you've done it, now what do I do? For others of you, you know somebody else betrayed you, and the information is there. Either way, whichever way you're connecting to this, whether you were betrayed or the betrayer, whichever it is, you're living with that information, and it's eating at you. It's eating at you, and it's making it harder to look at this person, either the betrayer or the betrayed, whichever it is. You're having a hard time being around the person, the counterbalance, whoever you betrayed or were betrayed by. You're living with it. You're trying to stuff it down. You're trying to stomach it, but I feel like it's eroding. The Death card here, that might be a little bit. Well, the Moon element that's in with this one that's very prominent is telling me you're trying to fake it out. You're trying to kid yourself that this is going to continue on. I get there's a winter period here. The winter period is telling me just kind of going dormant, kind of going numb, going through the routine, whichever side you are on, you're just trying to keep it going. You don't want to cause the destruction or demise of this situation. But you'll notice what's coming up here. Because you're going into winter, the death has already happened is what I'm getting. You already know, the information's already there. The result is already in line. You already know, I feel deep down you already know where this is going to go. But you're trying to, fake yourself out with it, especially this moon is connecting to the winter. Just trying to go cold with it. Try not to get upset, and you may actually not be upset about it currently, or you might go through a period where you're feeling or you're thinking you're okay, but the tower is yet to come. The situation is not finished. It will come around. If you're the betrayer and you're holding it back that you've done something, it will come out is what I'm getting, and it's going to be quite the brutal moment. If it's the reverse and you know that somebody else has betrayed you, you're trying to be okay, but either one of two things is happening. It's happening again, or just something happens and you just get tripped and you just can't take it anymore, and it all comes forward what you're really thinking. I feel like what they're trying to tell you here in the winter period, to make it easier on you, while you're in this period, you could resolve this. While you're here in the winter period, whichever side you're on, you could bring it forward and resolve it and bring it to the same conclusion without the, I want to say violence, quite frankly. It doesn't have to be physical violence, just could be arguing. It's still going to be a tower moment, tower-esque, if you will. But it may be more palatable for you. It may be slightly easier for you to deal with, a little bit more controlled, a little bit more, by the book. I don't know. It doesn't feel as rough. It's still going to be a tower moment. I just don't see you getting around it. But I do feel it, like if you're going during the winter season, while you're feeling your emotions are dormant, it may be easier for you to do so because you won't get overly upset and you can get everything taken care of, move forward, and then when done is done, you can sort out your feelings on your own terms. It's still not going to be easy. It's still going to be the tower. Granted, this could go all over the winter season coming up, unless you're in the southern hemisphere, of course. If you're in the northern hemisphere, this could last through the winter season, and then when winter starts to thaw out, that's when your destruction happens. Just to be fair, if you're in the southern hemisphere, because I know there's a lot of you people who do, and thank you for watching, I think you're awesome. Basically, you just came out. Like, you're about to come out of this. This is all past for you, is what I'm getting. If you're coming out of this season, and if it's connecting in that way, you might be just coming out of the season and you're heading for that tower moment any second. Just to be fair warning. Could be. Remember, you don't have to go by it by what hemisphere you're in, of course. You could just be going through this winter season up soon. But either way, they're saying whatever you're feeling, whatever is gone through, it's going to happen. The tower is going to happen. You can't negate it out. It will happen. So I feel like that's the whole point of this one. The death has actually already occurred. You're trying to fake yourself out. You're trying to put it on ice. But it's still decaying. It's going to decay. It's just on ice. Once you thaw it out, the tower will still happen. All right, I think that one's done. All right, I don't know what I thought when I did Betrayal now or then, why I thought that would be a nice or easy. I don't know why I would think that would be easy anyway. These are going to be brutal. I can see that already. There's the Amethyst. That's this pile. That's something about the ending there. Alright, are they all in frame? I think before I start flipping things, let's make sure they're in frame. Okay. The Apple. I actually like that card lately. Skull of Light. Six of Wands. It's kind of like a victory type card in this deck for me. Hey. Why not try a truce? This is at the end, I'm noticing. Do you notice, if you can see here, I'll bring it up so you can see it a little better. You notice it looks like blood. To me, for some reason at the moment, it reminds me of like a candy apple, and it's like that sweetness that like it's melting off. Especially if you look at the color on this card, and I don't know how it's coming across on camera. Blood tends to have like a little brownish tint to it, in my opinion. It looks very candy-like. Right now, that looks very candy-like to me. And I can bring it a little closer in case you want to see that color a little better. To me, it looks very candy-like. And I feel like what's happening is like you're taking away the overly sweet flavor of this situation. You do care about whoever you're dealing with, but I feel like your heart is exposed, and you're melting away the candy exterior, and you're just saying, you hurt me. Somebody was hurt here, that's for sure, and I should be connecting with you. You hurt me. You're saying it to this person. Now, the Six of Wands is telling me this person seems to feel like that's what they've been waiting for. You're talking to them. And I feel like, well, it almost feels like they're defending how they feel. I almost feel like they're also coming forward to you like we've already dealt with this. And when they see the Six of Wands, it's almost like they're saying, like, I already overcame this problem. This isn't happening anymore. We already dealt with this. It's really interesting for that card to say that, but that's what I'm feeling here. But you're taking away the candy coating. You're like, yeah, well, I'm still hurt. You know what I mean? My heart's exposed, and you hurt it. You hurt me. I'm still feeling hurt. You may feel like you got past it. Well, guess what? I'm the one that you hurt, and I'm not over it. But I want to be. Now, when we come forward to the next, I find that very interesting how that's coming in. The Skull of Light is coming in. To me, it's kind of like, I almost feel a little bit nauseous with it. Almost like there's so much here. There's so much trying to make things right, trying to work with the situation, trying to do the right thing. Like, there's definitely emotions here that, you both are honoring, and I get that, but it's like, there's so much here, it's like overload. I feel like this is overload when I'm feeling this in. It's making me feel a little nauseous, a little dizzy, a little too much going on here. Like, it's making me just, like, feel, ugh. You know when you eat something way too sweet and your body's like, ew, that's way, ugh. Like, it's kind of like that. And I feel like this is people trying to get along to the point where they're so accommodating to each other that it's just like you just want to smack somebody because they're being overly nice. You're just like, you need to snap out of it. Like, I don't live in this cotton candy world that you're portraying here, and neither do you. So let's just cut the bull. Because I feel like it gets to the point where it's actually frustrating. Why not try a truce? I'm getting the other side is finally getting. It's not about being nice. It's not about getting along. It's about why did it happen, and how are you supposed to know it's not going to happen again. And I feel like the Page of Swords down here with the Nine of Swords, it's like they're realizing it. I feel like the other person is getting it. It's not about them being nice to you or you being nice to them. It's about just being honest about where each of you are coming from and why it ended up where it did. Bringing forth those true feelings. This side, I feel like it really needs to bring forth those true feelings and just say how they're actually feeling. And I'm noticing this is open here. Like, I still feel this apple card is pulling over here. Kind of like you're not, if they're not going to sugarcoat it, you're not going to either. And you're trying to bring that forward, that you're still upset, that some of this is not resolved for you. The truce to me is saying, honestly, you're both coming to that point where you're like, neither of you are happy with the situation. You're not happy because your heart is still healing. They're not happy because they want to believe it's over and they want to move on from it. The truce is saying you both know how you feel, just kind of stopping the over candy coated, let's be super nice to each other, let's just try to make it go away feel, and let's just live normally. Let's just be normal and just see how everything kind of balances out over time, because I feel like you both just need to stop putting forth a front. I feel like you're more than willing to do that, quite frankly. I feel like you're more than willing to do that. But if they stop pulling up that front too, and you just kind of this, where do you actually stand? That's the truce. And I feel like it will just naturally come to the surface what you're both feeling. And once it does, you can actually do something with the situation. This is weird for this card because I feel like it's just being overly nice and it needs to stop. Being nice is good, but not to the point where you're just kind of like, you know, it's kind of like when grandma makes beets and you don't like beets at all and you're just like, oh, it's so good. I love beets. And you don't love beets. Like, don't lie to grandma. That's my point. Like, grandma doesn't want you to lie to her anyway. Not for nothing. If you don't like it, that's okay. She'll make something else. But don't say you like something or it's your favorite thing when you truly don't like it, because that's not helping anything. You're just going to get more beets. That's my point. And when you just come forward with like what you really like and what you don't, and you're both being honest with each other, that's the truce. That's going to bring it all to the surface so you can finally deal with it, and then you can actually see where you stand from there. And that's what they're getting at. That's what they're promoting. They're just like, stop being overly nice. It's not helping. Let the true emotions come forward so you can both see what you got. All right, that's the message for that. All right, now we're going to do the Lapis Lazuli. All right. No, I don't know where that's going to go just yet. Yeah, I guess that's how we're going to do it. Are these all in frame before I start? There we go. Okay. The Cauldron. Ooh, the Ace of Cups. We like that. I think we'd like that. We'll find out in a second. Two of Pentacles, and then Ancestors. I like this card too. Can we buy back the affection? I just knew it was too good to be true. I mean, I'm not saying it's that bad, but I felt this one when I wrote it down. I was just like, do I really want to write that? And I just wrote it down. I'm just like, don't second guess it. Just put it down and let's just see what happens. You notice it's curling up a little bit. Interesting. All right, so the Cauldron. What they say for it is synergy and healing. That makes sense to me. To me, it's like, what have you put into the situation? What is the situation really made of? Is it going well or is it not going well? Did you make a good concoction that you would enjoy and you're getting what you wanted out of it? Or, you know, is there a bit too much salt in here and you have to find a way to balance it? Because I feel like this is what you're coming into, a situation where it's almost like so many ingredients have been added. It's gotten really complicated, is what I'm getting. And it's time to thin it out a bit. It's time to thin it out, get rid of some of this, get rid of some of the soup, and I guess get something else in there to thin it out again, and decide, is this something that can be fixed with thinning it out, or do we have a problem here? That's what I'm going to get. That's what I'm getting from here, because it's all about what you put in here. Because I feel like this is a thing sometimes people don't realize. It's like, once you start putting things in and putting things in and putting things in, if you put too much in there or the wrong things in there, then it's like, can it be fixed? Because this is saying you already have a situation that's already been brewing. What are we dealing with? Because I feel we're taking the Cauldron and we got the Ace of Cups here now. We want this to work. We want this to work, but the situation is already what it is. And it is, the whole thing of this pick-a-read is betrayal now or then. And I feel like that's the question here. Was there betrayal in the past? And if there was, will it happen again? Because I feel like there's at least some questions of that. What's actually in this pot? That's the question. I actually feel for those who chose this, that actually might be on your mind. Like, has there been betrayal? Has there been? And if there was, will it happen again? The Ace of Cups is coming in. You have love for this person. You do not want this person to leave your life. But I feel like what they're saying is you got to see this person for who they are. I feel like the love, and I'm seeing this, like, there's mutual love here, so don't get me wrong. I do feel mutual love. But seeing the situation for what it really is might be the challenge here, because that's where you're going with the Two of Pentacles. What is the truth? Yeah, there's love here. Yeah, there's love both ways. But the way the two of you work, that's the question. What's the good and the bad of the situation? And when I see this, can we buy back what's that last word? Buy back the affection, and I might have misspelled affection. It's so much easier to spell things when you have a computer, when you print it out from a computer. I feel like there's a lot going back and forth, a lot of trying to appease each other. But you gotta look, this is the big thing with this card. I feel like you gotta know what's really in that cauldron. Because what you got in the cauldron, that's like what you're getting out of it. That's what you're getting out of it. It says ancestors, the love and legacy of your DNA. For this reading, it's saying this is like what you grew. Something like whatever you have in this pot, like sometimes a cauldron is reminiscent of a female's womb because you create life, like that type of thing, creating something of great importance, that type of thing here, right here. That's what you're getting out of this situation. That's what you're going to end up with. If you don't see it for what it really is, and you're fluffing it over with just, like it says, when parents do that for their kids, like their kids are upset with them or they haven't seen them in a while and they want them to like them, so they try to buy something for them that they really want, trying to buy the affection. That's what it's saying here. It's just like, is the healing really here, or are we just trying to negate out what, like, did we put too many carrots in this pot and we're just trying to put in a little extra sugar just so you don't notice the carrots even though they're there? You know what I mean? And then if you do that, is it more candy than soup at that point? What are you doing here? Because whatever it was, it's saying the situation is still going to turn out to be the same. Whatever you have in here, whatever the situation is made of, will come out in the wash. You can't get away from it. And I'm getting in the center, it's just trying to... I really feel like it's someone trying to buy somebody's affection. I really do. It's almost like, if I do this, you'll love me. If I give you this, you'll love me. So it's saying, and I'm almost, somebody loves. There's love here, and I do feel like the love is true, but if you build it upon, if I do this for you, you'll love me. If I give this to you, you'll love me. You could damage it. Because whatever's here is truly here. Does the other person just love you for what you're giving them? Whatever that may be. Buy does not have to be a tangible item. By the way, it could be physical things you're doing for this person. It could be just letting this person cry on your shoulder because their life is so hard, even though it's draining you. You know what I mean? Even if you need to also have a shoulder to cry on, you're always the one who puts forth the shoulder and they never give you yours. They never give you their shoulder to cry on. I feel like don't get caught up in like a physical item, like buying items like iPhones and whatever you got going on. It could be sexual, like giving into somebody very sexually because if I just do what they want, they'll love me. Whatever the situation is here, whatever it truly is, even though you might be creating this loving connection, you got to look at the truth here. You got to pull back, like whatever it is you're doing. If there's, for example, I don't know why, but I feel like we really need to put this in here. If you're doing something sexually that you really do not like, you need to stop. I'm sorry, but if you're doing something sexually for somebody else and you don't like it, I don't feel like you should be doing that. If it really does not something you like doing, and you think that's what's keeping them around, if you pull that back, you'll find out if they really do love you or not. Because it's still going to, either way, sooner or later, it will come out to the same ending. I just feel like it's better for you to know, do they love you or do they not? Before you get to this part. I think the message is there. I think that's a rough one. Because I feel like this is saying, for whoever is clicking into this, I feel like you're doing things in order for this person to love you, and they're showing you that love in return. But if they love the action or they love the item, that's not love. So you love them. Find out if they really love you. Alright. That one's done. This is the fifth one, I want to say. Rose quartz. No, this one might be a long one. Let's find out. Alright, so are they all in frame? Let's get them up here. This one's you, this one's them, this is the timeline of what's happening from it. A very home feeling, very secure. Barmbrack? Is that Barmbrack? Barmbrack? I never say that word right. Okay, so you have a very earthy home. It's very kind of like, you see how this fire is? It's kind of like hanging out at home at night, feeling secure and safe with those you loved, looking out for those you love, but also feeling looked out for. That's how I feel about that. This one, this is a little bit, there's a lot of sweetness with this. This is kind of a desserty feel to me. I'm not sure if that actually is a dessert bread. It says sweetness and synergy. I don't really know what Barmbrack tastes like. I kind of want to know now. But when I'm just looking here, like, there's a lot of fun. It's a very dessert-like feel to me is what I'm connecting on. A lot of fun, but a lot of happiness, a lot of joy, a lot of just trying to have fun. All right, what do we have for these three? Wow, you got a lot of good ones. Well, let's find out what this message is. I'm beeping done. So, okay, I see where this is going. You're letting go of something. No. It's not you letting go of something. Because they're saying, well, if that was the case, we would have put that up here. So it's down here it's them. All right, so you got the hearth. They got the, whatever that word is. You're committed to this situation. The other person is letting it go. Whatever it is, whoever betrayed who, whatever is going on here. Misunderstandings from the past, this person is completely, they're not going to deal with it anymore. I'm getting this very dessert-like feel, like they are committed, they are happy, but I'm also getting that they're no longer going to live in the past. So for better or for worse, and I actually feel like this is for better, because look at these cards, they're not going to allow any reference to the past. If there's any problems with the past, they have been dealt with, the debt has been paid, they will not bring it into the future. This is actually really good. Because I feel like this is bringing it forward in the sense of like we can't continue on if we're going to hold things from the past. I feel like they're letting go of things from the past. Maybe they're holding something against you, left or right, whatever it is. I'm getting, when it says I'm beeping done, like they don't want to hold on to the past anymore. Some of them, if this is a betrayal thing, whoever or whatever the betrayal was with, that's what they're done with. I knew we would finally get it. I knew it was circling. It was like circling around, waiting for it to come in, and I feel like it finally hit. This person is committed to you. You're very grounded and stable and locked in with them. When I'm getting I'm beeping done, this actually finally fits a lot better for me. I'm getting whatever the situation was, if it was a person or a thing, whatever it was, they're done. They're sick of it. They're not getting anything out of it anymore. It's more of a pain. They're stuck. They're with you. I almost said they're stuck with you. They're sticking to you. That's probably a better way, especially with this sticky bread feel going on here. I don't even know if that's actually sticky when you make it, but I'm getting a sticky feeling. Yeah, they're done with that situation. You are ready to continue on forward. I'm noticing this Queen of Cups moment here. I feel like both of you are looking at the situation and what it is and where you want it to go. Betrayal is nothing to just scoff at. But it seems like the work has been done to where a new day is coming forward. The Queen of Cups is there's a lot of love between you and this person. It goes, I feel like it flows both ways. But I feel like there's also like kind of keeping yourself together. Both of you seem to be very, like, minding your P's and Q's, I guess you could say. You know, not saying something that you know might cause a little bit of a problem, yet not holding things back that the other person needs to know. It's like a very delicate balance. Like, you don't want to give half-truths, but you don't want to poke the bear either at the same time. So it's like minding your pints and quarts, that type of thing. So I feel like there's a very honored, very loving balance going on here. Nobody's doing anything negative to anybody here. I feel like this is good. The hope comes next. The star card, the inspiration, the optimism, inspiration especially. I feel like the way this is coming together, I feel like it's taking a little time, but that person, whatever that situation was, they're done with it. They're finished. And I feel like you're both very confident with that. That's why your Ace of Pentacles shows up here at the end. I actually feel like this is rebuilding. The Ace of Pentacles feels like you're going through this step program, and it's kind of like when this person says they're done, you want that to be true. You're seeing that it's true over time, and once you feel completely comfortable and secure with that, you're rebuilding. When you are completely comfortable and secure with that, and you're rebuilding, the other person, they get it, they're right on board, they're capitalizing on that, they're moving forward with that. They don't take this lightly. I know that says Barnbrack, and I see that it seems like they're very sugary sweet, let's have fun, let's get everything going, let's get along. They feel a lot better that situation is done. They do feel like they have been released from that pain, because I feel like whatever it was, they were also holding or bringing that into the future a little bit, which was damaging things. But when they see that you're in and you believe and you know everything is the way it is, and they are truly living up to that, they're letting go of any connection to the past as well. It's like a fresh start. It's kind of like you can't really plant new seeds in toxic soil. And between the two of you, you're getting rid of the toxic soil. There's some manure left over, but manure is a good thing. Manure is a good thing that helps a plant grow. But like Drano, toxicity would be Drano in my opinion. That if there was some of that in the soil, you're getting that soil out. You're letting this person go. You're relieving them of that pain. You're saying, I'm not going to hold that against us anymore. I'm not holding that against you anymore. I'm letting it go. This is where your new thing, your new start comes from. This is where your new seed is planted, and the relationship regrows a lot stronger. It is taking you a little time to get there, but I feel like that's smart. I don't say that's a bad thing. It does feel like this is going really well. I feel like this is one of the optimistic ones. I think we're done with that. All right. That one, I think that was one of the best ones. There was a couple brutal ones in this round. All right, now this one. This stone. I'm curious. All right. I feel like we're crossed here. All right, so let's just air. Okay. Skull of Stars, Jack-o'-lantern. The Skull of Stars says infinite possibilities. Yeah, we'll see. Jack-o'-lantern protection. I can kind of go along with that. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what actually comes across when I'm pulling in the energy here. Now, this is the situation you're dealing with. This last one, if you chose this one, I feel like this is just giving you more insight about what's actually going on. What is truly happening right now? I feel like it's just trying to get a better perspective and just holding on for the ride. This is very much grounded with love. The King of Cups is where I'm feeling a lot of earth energy here, but in the description sense. In the sense of like what is grounding the situation, what is holding it in place, is the love of the situation. The mutual love between the two people involved. It might be more than two, but I feel like most of yours is going to have a two, you and somebody else type thing going on there. And I feel like the action that's supporting it, you got the Four of Wands, if you can see that right there. It's very stable. It's almost contractual based. So some of you might be in a marriage where there's betrayal now or then, and it's just, there's a lot of love in the situation, and there's a lot of both of you doing what you feel you're obligated to do, you feel is the right thing to do. And that's fine. But there's things coming into play. There's one bad card here, right? Well, one rough card here. Because the situation is, action, I feel like it's moving forward, it's staying together, staying connected. There's a lot of love here. It's very grounded in love. This is the communication aspect, the Ten of Swords. I'm getting, if you haven't had direct communication with the two of you, the pain needs to come out. The truth needs to come out. It may still need to be talked out. One of the ways I'm feeling this come in is that maybe you're not talking. And I don't mean like you're not talking at all, but about the subject, about the betrayal, maybe you're not talking about that. And it's causing pain between the two of you. It's not a fun card, but you may have to go through that. You might have to go through the devastation to move it forward. Otherwise, it's just kind of like it's going to become a toxic situation if it isn't already. So that might be like, they're saying where you're standing is, the Ten of Swords is saying communication is painful but needs to happen. Now this is the emotions. The emotions of the situation, the Wheel of the Year here. The next phase is coming in. And you've got either the Ten of Swords coming forward, or you've got the King of Cups coming forward. If you ignore this, oddly enough, if you ignore this and just try to go along with rote routine, or one of you does, either one, both or one of you, doesn't matter. You're going to go forward where the wheel is going to turn based on this, and you're going to have a negative turn, and it's going to cause damage, it's going to cause pain in the future. If you bring this forward, and you connect with that King of Cups energy, which is very strongly based in, you have a chance to recoup this situation. You have a chance to recoup it and bring that into emotional stability. I can't guarantee you a good outcome. I can guarantee you a bad outcome if you ignore it. And you've got the Skull of Stars and the Jack. Well, the two of these, I feel like there's a lot of work that can happen. When I'm feeling the Jack-o'-lantern, I'm feeling this talk about a lot of work that can be enjoyed. Pain is here. Pain needs to be talked about. But I'm getting the two of these together especially is like the work can be done once the pain is brought forward and dealt with. The work can be done to reconnect and re-strengthen the situation. And I feel like you can make a better future. There's something here. You can make this into a better situation. If this is truly dealt with, I feel like you're both in a situation where the work can be done and the situation can be enjoyable again. It can be, but you both have to be on the same point here. I feel like this, when it says protection, that might be, I mean, that would make sense on why this might be kind of avoided, because, you know, one of you doesn't want to bring up pain or make a situation worse than it already is. And that makes sense, but I feel like by you know, well, actually this would be how that would go. By trying to hide that pain, protecting yourself or the other person from that pain, it just festers. It's just kind of like a cancer, and it's going to grow and lead to somebody's demise is what I'm getting. The skull here, if this is the other person, which I kind of feel like these are the two people, I'm getting somebody wants to heal. And I feel like it's whoever did the betraying, they want to heal. But it's kind of like we have to rebuild from the skull up. We have to rebuild from the base up. We have to bring life back to this situation, which I know sounds crazy, but that's what I'm getting from this. Somebody is hopeful that we can rebuild this. The other person realizes it's going to be work, but maybe it can be more enjoyable than not. And down the line, that could be true. But this has to be addressed first. You're going to have to address it, or it's going to do you in. Did this come through? I think what we're, just in case, I'll just kind of snapshot it here quick. Whatever the pain is, it has to be addressed. It has to be addressed. One of you is trying to hide from it and protect either themselves or the other, maybe both, from the situation. The other one's ready to do the work, but I feel like they're fearful of, like, you know, if they try to do the work on their own, is that just not going to happen? Both people have to be engaged with this. But if it's talked out, you have a chance. You have a chance for it to work out. If you don't talk it out, it's going to just fester like a cancer. And just sooner or later, it could just be too late or just be a lot more work than it was right now. I think that came through. All right, I'm going to wrap that one up there. I think we're good. Thank you for watching. If you'd like a direct reading from me, shoot me an email, jamesforastral@gmail.com. That's James, the number 4, astral@gmail.com. Thank you.